There you are, you rock star. How are you doing?
All right, Howard. How you doing?
Doing very well. So what have you been up to outside of writing songs, man?
Oh, well, you know, we started doing some touring again last year. Nice. Started last summer when everything started opening up again, you know. And, then we're doing a new record and just came from Nashville. I signed with a new label now, so they're based out of Nashville. So yeah, things are on the up and up again. How about you?
Yeah, the same thing. But I want to talk about that moment about going back out on stage because I've discovered a new respect for it. It's like when you're up there and those people are receiving what you're delivering. I mean, do you find yourself in a place where you're respecting that moment that you bring to them?
Absolutely. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's the greatest high in the world, and if you feel like I mean, it's the excitement of it all and the adrenaline rush. But if you can feel like you're getting across to what you meant when you wrote the lyrics in the song, and you see it in their eyes and their faces and just the overall reaction, it's a great feeling.
I am a face reader. Are you one too? Because I study how they're acting, reacting, what they're moving to, what they're not moving to. Oh my God. Oh yeah, and I feed off of it, and I feed off the energy that comes from the crowd, and and then I try to accelerate it even more. So. Do you ever get yourself in a moment where you look at somebody in the band, you go, because I do this all the time with my wife, I'll go, watch this. And all of a sudden it's like, woof, you're on your way.
Right. Sure. I get what you're saying. Absolutely. I call it, it's chemistry on stage. It's an unspoken language.
But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of developing. I mean, that's the thing that so many of these young musicians and DJs and things like that think that, oh, I'm all ready to start. No, you don't know the language. Yeah. No, you gotta pay your dues and you gotta learn the ropes, and as I did too. Yeah.
I think the first time, I mean, maybe I felt a little magic with some local stuff I did before I got a break. But the first time I really felt magic was when I was playing with Jason Bonham Band. With Jason Bonham, I was like, wow. It was not like we knew each other. We really didn't that well, but it was a musical chemistry that was just, out of this world.
Has booking a performance changed for you? Because it sure has for me. It's not all about just reaching out there anymore. You've got to go where the people are, and they're on the digital platform.
Absolutely right. I agree. It's not like it used to be. But in some ways, people after the shutdown, especially, people are dying for live music again. They're I see it in their faces. I can see how much they just like envelop it and just, oh God, yes, thank you. And that's a great feeling. I think there are too many tribute bands out there right now.
I think so too.
My personal opinion.
Yep.
But
yeah. So how do you deal with those people that want to wheel and deal with you? Because I mean, I'm in that position right now where it's like they want to make a deal, and it's like, God, if I were a dentist, I don't make a deal as a dentist.
Well, that's just it. We're not at a swap meet, okay? Right? I mean, okay. No, it's like this is the set price. And if you want to, haggle a little bit of a couple $100 as far as like a percentage. Plus a guarantee plus the percentage, maybe we can work that. But no, this is pretty much this set price. This is it. I've been at this game for a long time. And, there you go. I mean, this is what I do for a living. This is not charity. I do some of those events sometimes, and I'm happy and pleased and proud to do it, those charity events. But no, this is how I make my living. This is not a hobby. And some of these promoters, you try to get that across to them.
Yep.
Especially, and I predicted this during the pandemic because I was like, when everything opens up again, it's going to be dog eat dog.
Yep.
Because, they're all trying to make up their money that they lost, and I mean, I even just played in Vegas. I mean, everything is ridiculously expensive. So, and that's what it is. And it's the same kind of thing. But when you're dealing with talent, it's like, no, this is it. My resume speaks for itself. And, You want to haggle a little bit? Yeah, maybe if it's worth it, but maybe. But I'm not, no, I know you have to be hardlined about it.
I was recently with an arena owner, and he told me that he can't stand the summer months because a lot of bands go to these little festivals in every little city, and he says that it hurts him at the arena. Do you find that to be a real story?
I don't know. I mean, played Vegas last weekend, and one of the shows was sold out. So I don't necessarily. But that's Vegas, So yeah, right. So, but I mean, I do. Yeah, obviously, there's more festivals out in the middle of nowhere, in the summertime, and so maybe that affects some of the clubs. I do hear that some of the clubs, like, out, like you said, the smaller towns and cities. I believe that could affect things slightly. I think the main thing is that I think promoters need to open up their minds a bit more as far as original bands, because it seems to me that they just want tribute bands majority of the time. Not only that, but I'm just saying I've just noticed this trend since everything started reopening again last year. That they know what they're getting with that. So and then I find out some of the tribute bands are making more money than original bands that put records out. And to me that's just not right.
I'm seeing that a lot here in the Carolinas, where these tribute bands are coming in and they're creating festivals around that. And I don't want to knock what they're doing, but at the same time I'm going, they're not the originals. They're not.
These are not the original guys. Exactly. I agree. And then some of them get egos like that are out of control. They start thinking that they're them. Not all, but I'm just saying I've seen it a few times here and there.
Well, what about that law that the United States government put into action that if you don't have one or two members of the original band, you cannot be that band? But all these tribute bands are going out there and they sound like them. None of them are original.
Right, and there's exactly right. And there's guys that are using the names. Not going to mention the names of the bands, but that are using the names where there's not one original member, not one. Which to me that is just completely wrong. I mean, if you are dedicating it to, say, a deceased member, and you're doing it like a charity kind of event to like the Ronnie James Dio benefit, shows and events, something to that effect, to as a charity for whatever unfortunately killed the original member, that I can understand if it's promoted that way. But they're not doing that. It's a cash grab.
I've been with Ronnie's wife 3 times. She just really, really brings it together when it comes to, this is what we're going to do for this show. We're going to stick to it. Right.
Exactly. Agreed. No, she's great. And she really goes all out for that charity, So, and I've participated in quite a few, almost all the events for the last, 5 years or so.
Wow.
Just did the one in the park here near where I live in Encino, because that's where Ronnie lived, and Balboa Park. And, I sang with the guys from Whitesnake, which was great. Yeah, including Adrian Vandenberg. Yeah.
So what is it like to live someone else's bucket list? Because we would all like to sing with Whitesnake, or we would all like to sing with Ford.
Right. It's cool. I mean, but it was a lot of work and sacrifice. With no guarantee. That's why I always say, if any young kids ask me, give me any advice, what could you do? I said, look, it's a different world now than when I was coming up, because it's all digital. But the most important thing I can say is that if there's something else maybe you would rather do that first. Ooh, wow. Try that first. And you can always have music on the side. Yeah. And then you'll know, because you have to be in it for the right reason, for the passion and the love of it. And that basically you can't imagine going through life without doing this. And if you don't feel that way, then it is so difficult in this day and age, in some ways, that I would suggest, just maybe do it as a hobby.
God, I hate that word. I hate that word so bad.
I hate that word, too. But all right, I just do it on the side, let's just say. Like, have something else, if there's something else you'd rather do. But if you don't feel that way, if you're like I was, well, I didn't, I got to watch my P's and Q's, right? Okay.
You can put some elemental P's in there if you want to.
All right. You don't give a fuck what you have to do and how much you have to struggle and sacrifice and pay dues and whatever. And you believe in yourself that strongly, then yeah, go for it, you know, and learn how to use what is available to you these days, you know, the digital market, which these kids, you know, they grew up with stuff, you know, they grew up with the internet, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, use that to your advantage. You don't have to rely on the machine anymore, you know, like we had to when I was a kid coming up.
Yeah. Which
the machine I refer to the, you know, major record companies. You don't have to necessarily. So that's the advice I give them, you know, and get out there. And I still believe you got to get out and play. I'm sorry. I know there's the whole streaming thing and all that. And yeah, we did some of that even during the pandemic. But I still believe it's about live performances. You know? Yeah,
because these talent shows on television are saying, oh, all you got to do is just show up and see if you can win the talent contest. And I'm going, right. That's just not part of the blood that you have to put into every song.
Agreed, Arrow. I know what you mean. You know, I mean, I see some of this. That's why I hate some of those programs because, you know, it's like, oh, Mom said I sounded great in the shower, so now I'm going to go. And some of them never been on stage or maybe karaoke, and that's about it, right?
Oh, my God. If you only knew how many people come up to me and say, yeah, they say I have a great voice for radio. Really? Is that what you think radio is, having a great voice? That has nothing to do with the journey, buddy.
Right. I agree, Mike. Totally.
All right, we have to talk shop about Westbound because you've got a song called Don't Stand in My Sunshine. First of all, there's so many interpretations of this song because you could be blocking my sunshine and you could be like, I'm celebrating life, but you're in my way. Get out of my way. But at the same time, I sit here and say, this has been released at the right time. And because we're here in the middle of July, and it's like, this is it. This is the summer song.
Exactly right. I agree. And you pretty much hit that nail on the head there. It's about, don't let toxic people and toxic situations or whatever, you know, bring you down and put you, you know, to the dark side, as Star Wars lingo goes, right? But yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. And you're right. It wasn't planned on coming out in the summertime, but it just fits, you know, it just happened to be the timing was correct on that.
But how do you transfer that to a video though, in this modern age of, you've got probably about 15 or 20 seconds of my attention.
Right. We just shot a video in Nashville and I don't know. I mean, you just got to have people really listen to it. I think, you know, if you want to know how we got the idea, Roy Z and I, producer, co-writer, wrote that with me. And we were watching a movie that stars George Clooney called Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
It's about 20. You remember that movie?
Yes.
Great. Okay, takes place during the Depression era. And they're running from the law. You know, he escapes the chain gang type deal. And they're singing together. This is when radio was first starting out. And they were just the Depression. They were broke. He said, "Oh, if you sing into this tin can, it's a microphone, right? They'll pay you $10." You know, and that was worth what? Probably $1,000 or somewhere around there back then. So that's that song, and what they call themselves, the Soggy Bottom Boys.
Yep.
So we were watching that, and we thought, wow, that song they had, and I don't remember it right off the name of the title right off the top of my head, but. It was like, wow, what if we took something like that, not the exact song, but in that vein, and modernized it a bit, you know? That's how we came up with the idea.
That's why you've got that harmonica in there, isn't it?
Correct. You got it. Well, I'm a bluesy guy, you know, so I love that. I finally had a chance to, you know, put some blues harp playing on the record, and, you know, I'm not, you know, what's his name? The guy, I can't think. Anyway, but, you know, but I do love it. You know, and all my favorite vocalists always played blues harps. So,
yeah, because
I do my best.
You do it in a way that isn't Blues Traveler. You do it in your own fashion where it fits into the moment is what it does. And that's what I swear to God, that's my attraction to it. That to me is part of the hook of the song.
Thank you. Well, you know, you listen to like Jagger playing blues harp. You listen to Robert Plant, listen to Roger Daltrey, Steven Tyler. They're all good, but they're not like you said. The guys from what's his name from Blues Traveler, big John guy.
Yeah.
John
Popper. John Popper.
Popper, that's it. Popper. Yeah, I met him once. Really sweet guy. But yeah, I mean, we're not to that that good at it. I mean, that guy's amazing. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it just feels it. It's the old school, with just acoustic guitar or something and a little blues harp sitting around a campfire kind of deal.
Well, the thing about it is that you respect every instrument, because although that harmonica really does come through and it goes, whoa, what's going on here? Your guitar riffs and the vocals really blend in there quite well. You respect every level of what makes this song.
Yeah, thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad that's getting across.
But you got to be sitting inside that studio and inside that control room going, okay, what are we doing? There's something missing. We've got to try this. Let's go over here and do it again. That's
correct. You're right. I heard the blues harp in my head right away when we wrote the song. Mm-hmm. So, and I was like, yes, this will work. And I was thinking a little bit about that song and also When the Levee Breaks. A little bit. Just, especially in the upbeat part,
So were the harmonies there all the way from the very beginning? Because, I mean, that's one of the things. I'm addicted to harmonies. I love harmonies. Yeah, I'm sick for harmonies.
No, I did that later on, actually.
Really?
I thought he was missing something, and I was like, wait a second, I got an idea. And then I started, we were in the studio listening. I just went in, did it one take, and that was it. That's
one thing I like about modern day music now, and I wish listeners would tap into it, is that you are physically in a studio nowadays and you are in control. It's not an engineer sitting there going, well, back in 1969, I did this with such and such performer.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. It's great. And, you're in control. And that's what I said. You control your own destiny and your own career and, whatever. You're not relying on the machine anymore. You're not relying on producers. I mean, yes, it helps. I mean, Roy Z, but we're friends. We've worked together for, God, on and off for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, it's different.
So coming in at 321 for a time, I mean, that perfectly fits you into adult top 40. You're going to reach beyond modern rock stations, because, I mean, you're setting yourself up for those adults who want to hear some rock and get a little bit of some of that adult contemporary as well.
Right. I really appreciate you saying that. I agree. And that's why I thought, we filmed the video in Nashville, and I was like, it's the perfect setting for this song. The atmosphere of the song, the old school, like I said, we got the idea from that movie, which takes place in the South. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was perfect for that, and it can reach, cross over to quite a few markets, as you mentioned. So.
Yeah, well, one of the things, I was with Mark Altman this morning, and the thing is that we talked about the music of 1982, how it changed the face of music. I swear to God, there's a movement happening today, but radio refuses to jump on it. How do we reach beyond this? I mean, do you step onto other platforms and say, we've got to make the cause and the effect ourselves, and if radio doesn't want to play along, just I don't care. Let's just do it.
Well, that's why there's so many podcast shows, I think.
Yep.
Yep. And they can play whatever they want. They're not dictated by, oh, no, you have to play these songs and that's it. That's why the old days was all that payola and all that stuff.
Oh, and that's coming up again, dude. It's coming up again. Oh,
is it really?
Oh, my God. It's in the headlines again, because now they're going after the podcasters about who's getting paid to play what song. And it's like, oh, my God, I just did an interview last week. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, because that's usually the beginning of the end, the start. It could be years and years and years, but God forbid if it gets to that point again.
Oh, my God, because the big subject last week was Semisonic with Closing Time and how they used it as a tool, and it's like, oh, drop it, please. We're not there. We're not there. I swear to God, we're not there.
We're not there yet. No, I agree. But unfortunately, I didn't know that it was rearing his ugly head again.
Yeah, it's become the talk.
Wow.
So now, when are you jumping on Threads? I mean, Threads, 78 million people. Are you guys doing anything on there yet?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you jumping on to Threads yet? Because, I mean, there's 78 million people that made that jump in the past 2 weeks.
I know what you mean. Yeah, as far as I know, that's what the label is planning on doing.
Good.
So, yeah, absolutely. It's a brand new label, like I said. I just signed with and we're the first band that they're releasing. Actually, they've got a few other.
You're going to be a
so
pioneer.
We're the first band release. We're working on the record. It's with sophomore record right now, which probably would not be out till next year. That's why we decided this day and age, it's better to release the singles first, and build the momentum. And I guess because of the shutdown, lockdown during the pandemic, let also fans and people know in general that the band is still around. We're still together, and and we're still out there playing. And here's something new, and here's a new video, and we'll have the entire record within a year or less.
How important is the merchandise? Because my wife and I were talking before the conversation about how, CDs, cassettes, albums, it seems like the younger generation wants what we once had. And they're finding out that the quality was so much greater.
You're absolutely right. And they are finally realizing that you don't get that kind of sound, digitally. It's, I agree. I'm glad they're listening to records and, again, merchandising is basically so important to be able to survive on the road, especially as a new band, because, we're not really making anything on publishing anymore. Very little, unless you're fortunate enough to get it placed in a movie or TV show, streaming, we're getting screwed on that too. So it's merchandising, it's expensive to be on the road these days, And that really, really helps a lot. Like I said, especially with the new bands, But yeah, you're talking about the sound. I agree. There's nothing like analog.
Yeah.
And I think, even the younger crowd is realizing that now. So that you can hear the difference in sounds and what you lose when it's just digital.
All right, let's confront the elephant in the room, and that is AI. You know darn good and well somebody's out there.
Oh, I know.
What is that doing to your creative process?
Well, I know. I mean, I shudder. It's like, what's going to happen, in the next few years? I don't know. But you're not going to know what's real anymore. I mean, they're trying to come up with laws, and right now I know that they're working on that. But we'll see. I mean, hell, a kid would be able to do a whole movie in his bedroom. Yep. I mean, that's why that's not only the music industry, but the motion picture industry. That everything is kind of they're all freaking out, going, "Oh my God, what are we going to do here? How do we keep a lid on this?"
Even as a voiceover actor, it affects us. I mean, we can't go.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's just totally silencing our world.
And then, of course, next year being an election year, that's going to be even uglier. So, not bad enough already, right? So,
but, the good news, though, Chaz, is the fact that I just read an article that's saying that everybody has it wrong between the baby boomers and the new generation. And the reason why they've got it wrong is they think that there's 50 years of difference, when, in fact, if you go in there and you study it, the baby boomers and the new generation are one in the same. They're going to be who we are.
Wow. I guess. Well, I'm considered Gen X, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wow, that's good to know. That gives me hope for the future. I agree. That's great. And I don't know, what do they call not Gen Z, but there's another for even younger crowd. Because I talked to some of these teenage kids and stuff. I don't know I forget what gen they call them, but nevertheless, it seems to me that I don't know. You're right. They're more old school. If they go after something they want, and they understand that it's not going to get handed to them. They don't think they're entitled.
And they're not afraid to protest and bring the songs that have touched their lives to that protest.
I agree. So that right there gives me hope. A glimmer of it, at least.
So where can listeners go to give you guys some love and support and to buy that merchandise? Because like you said, that merchandise is so important. Right,
exactly. The single itself, the new single, Don't Stand in My Sunshine, is available on all digital platforms, Spotify, etc., Apple. And then go to westboundofficial.com for anything else regarding Westbound, the band members, the shows, things, tours, whatever. everything is available on there. And of course that links you to, Facebook, Instagram, etc.
Now listeners need to understand that you also need to be a part of the iTunes Top 100. They've got to get this song, and because that's what's going to open the door for you to play in these clubs and arenas, because those owners and those people that are in the business have got to have some numbers.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing is my new label, they're really behind us. They really believe in us. It's not strangers. I've known these people for years, so that's a good thing. And they're willing to go out of their way to make sure it's, promoted to the utmost extent. So that's a good thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got to come back to this show. You know the door is always going to be open for you, dude.
Thank you, Arrow. It's good to talk to you again. I know it's been, a little over a year? Something like that?
That's too long. That's too long. You're releasing songs faster than that.
You got it, my friend. Well, you sound great.
Well, so do you, man. I always love your stories, and I love your honesty, man. And because that's how we're gonna shape the future, is that we've got to bring the experience to them, because right now they're on cloud 9.
I agree. I agree. You hit the nail on the head. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
All right, my friend. Have a great day. All the best.
You bet.
Rock on.
Bye, guys.